I'm Dr. Jennifer Dimoff. I'm an assistant professor at the Telfer School of Management at the University of Ottawa. And my primary area of research and expertise is in organizational behavior and human resource management. And my research really focuses on how organizations can protect and support employee mental health. And in 2014, my colleagues, Dr. Kevin Kellaway and Lenora Collins, and I wrote a book chapter that has never been more timely, actually. For the first time, we're getting a lot of interest and requests about this particular book chapter, and it's called Scrambling, an Ability and a Process. And in this book chapter, we introduce this concept called scrambling. And it's all about how human beings respond to crisis situations. So this is what's making it timely. And it's funny because the idea of scrambling actually came to us from watching the NFL football. And there's a term called a quarterback scramble in American football. And a quarterback scramble is a term used to describe an unplanned or impromptu maneuver that a quarterback must make when faced with unexpected pressure from the other team. So they're forced into this situation where they can't proceed as planned. They can't execute the play that had been planned. And now they have to divert their attention, change the game plan, and do something in the moment. It's very reactive. And that's the type of situation that we're in right now. We're in a reactive situation. And even if we have tremendous contingency planning and tremendous emergency planning, this is still a situation where most individuals and a lot of businesses are faced with unprecedented change that requires very reactive responses. So we've applied this kind of concept of a quarterback scramble to businesses and to people in businesses. So to respond appropriately and adaptively, the quarterback, which is now all of us, has to recognize the situation. So recognize, okay, we are in a crisis. To remain calm, identify options for different plays that could be executed, and mobilize resources that are going to help execute that play as best as possible given the circumstances. So right now, we are all quarterbacks when being faced with the COVID-19 virus and associated consequences. So we are all scrambling right now. And drawing on the crisis literature, we suggest that there are 4 steps to scrambling, and they ring very true for us in this situation today. So to be able to respond to a crisis adaptively, we as individuals have to recognize that there is some kind of threat, whether that threat is very acute in terms of protecting our physical health and safety, or it is longer term or more chronic. So recognizing that there might be a threat to our financial security or financial stability or our organization's survival. We have to recognize that we are now in this situation, that this is not business as usual, and recognition is a key first step. The second is that we have to maintain a level of calmness, and that it's okay to feel worry. It's okay to feel sad, to feel scared, to experience all of the very natural emotions and physiological responses that come when we feel threatened. But to do our best to remain calm, to recognize that we are experiencing those emotions. Some of them are very rational, some of them are less rational, and to cope in a way that is going to be productive. And in order to cope productively, we can't panic. So we have to recognize those emotions, feel those emotions, but not panic because of those emotions. So first step, recognition. Second step, remaining calm. Third step, identifying the options or courses of action that are available to us. When we panic as individuals or groups or organizations, we put on blinders that really impede our ability to see what courses of action are available to us, because we've become it's a term called tunnel vision, where we become so focused on what's right in front of us that we neglect all of the potential avenues to our sides. So that is what we want to avoid when responding to a crisis. So first, we recognize we're in a crisis. Second, we remain calm so that we don't develop tunnel vision. Third, we identify options or courses of action that are available to us. And that's going to look different from industry to industry, organization to organization, and individual to individual. So I'm not even going to get into recommendations there because it's going to be so specific. So with that, you have to make sense of the information available to you. And then this dynamic situation that we're in right now, that information is changing daily, sometimes hourly. So being in a position to constructively bring in that information, make sense of that information, and then take action based on that information. And that is something that's going to be very operational and can be very logistic in nature. And then the fourth step of garnering assistance and support from others. So that's working with industry partners, that's working with teams, that's working with coworkers in order to respond in a way that is effective, both short-term and long-term. When people and organizations are able to kind of execute on these 4 steps effectively, they're better at scrambling. And in our chapter, we suggest that if you are effective at scrambling, that's going to be, or effective scrambling is related to personality factors, it's related to coping styles, it's related to what resources we have available to us as individuals and as organizations, how we process stress and stressors. So there are going to be individual differences. There are going to be organizational differences. But the idea is that all of these things combine to lead to outcomes such as better decision-making, more individual level self-confidence, that you can cope even when things go very wrong, globally, at a local level, and at an individual level. And through that better decision making and through that increased self-confidence, the idea is that those things can lead to better long-term mental health and well-being. And that's not just individual level well-being, it's also the well-being and performance of the organization. So this is, although scrambling is new to the literature, it's very much in alignment with concepts such as resilience and hardiness and grit. But what we really argue is it's not just about individual level resilience or individual level hardiness, but it's also about the processes in place that are going to help people navigate those 4 steps effectively. And we've also received funding from CIHR to study organizational response to the COVID-19 outbreak. And as part of that, we're hoping to tackle some of these questions related to scrambling at the individual level and at the organizational level. I hope that was helpful. Thank you.